When the metal tests were over, the water was turned on. 11 dowsers paced the field. Hidden in the ground below were 10 pipes. The dowsers had to detect which one the water was flowing through. By chance alone, they had to be right 10% of the time, but the dowsers boasted they'd score at least 80% success. At the end of the day, the diviners gathered to hear the water results from scrutineer the Reverend Ted Knopfs.
Out of a total of 50 tries, there were only 11 successful attempts, which was 22%. The total of everything, that is to say the brass, the gold, and the water, meant 111 tries were undertaken. There were a total of 15 successful, and that makes approximately a percentage of 12%. So the result was just a little over the 10%.
It would seem to indicate that dowsing as a force simply does not exist except in the imagination and in wishful thinking of the people who try it.
What are we to make of Randy's test for dowsing? The experiment was well designed, but I don't quite agree with his conclusions. The test for water and the test for metal were entirely separate experiments. He shouldn't have combined the results. The dowsers were hopeless at finding metals. They'd have done much better if they'd merely guessed. But the results for water are rather impressive. By chance alone, the dowsers should have been right 10% of the time. Their actual score was 22%. The odds are 100 to 1 against that happening by chance. So the dowsers were quite good at locating water. They weren't as infallible as they claimed to be, but they were distinctly better than Randy admits. I've been able to find only one experiment that suggests how dowsing may actually work.
On the campus of Utah State University at Logan, Professor Dwayne Chadwick is preparing the ground for the latest in a series of dowsing tests. He hopes to establish a connection between dowsing reactions and the Earth's magnetic field, using student volunteers hijacked on their way to classes. Before the test begins, Chadwick measures the magnetic field every foot along the path. Then he buries a piece of wire coat hanger in the snow, which will cause a distinct change, a distortion in the Earth's magnetic field.
Really hard.
The tests are designed to discover whether dowsers can detect changes in the Earth's magnetic field, like the one caused by the coat hanger. Any movement of the rods, a dowsing reaction, is carefully recorded. Chadwick got the idea from a local newspaper story.
I saw something that made me really wonder. 2 boys fell through the ice on the Snake River and were drowned. The search party couldn't find them, and a dowser came along and located them after the search party had given up. That got me thinking there must be some scientific basis on which that might work, because here's a whole river of water. Obviously it wasn't the water. And I postulated that the skates would distort the Earth's magnetic field.
Underground water also causes such distortions. Perhaps dowsers can tune into them. This might explain the basis of dowsing. But why should the rods twitch?
I postulated again that here we have the human body, which is really a conductor of electricity. And as you cut the magnetic field, this causes micro voltages to be induced into the tissues, the muscles. That shortens the muscle. It causes a slight misalignment of the hands, subconsciously, not consciously, and causes a dowsing response.
In a previous test, students dowsed a 60-foot-long path. Unknown to them, Chadwick had buried a piece of wire coat hanger at a spot 26 feet along it. The dowsing reactions were grouped in bunches, especially over the wire.
23 out of 25 people got a reaction within 3 feet of that spot. And statistically, of course, you could break the bank at Monte Carlo with those kind of odds. And we did show that they tended to get reactions where the magnetic field is changing.
The magnetic field is changing most where the graph is steepest, and that's where the dowsing reactions are bunched.
Based on our statistical evidence, I think there is a possibility that this is the mechanism by which the dowsing reaction occurs.
In Carmel Valley, California, the telephone company has a dowser on call.
Just turned off Highway 1. I'm eastbound on Carmel Valley Road.
We got to keep trouble with the old Dunaway ramp. Some buried service wires, underground wires seem to have gone bad.
Is that one right by Mid-Valley?
That's the one. You can go out there and locate the underground facilities.
Engineer Tom Harmon had trouble convincing his boss.
When I first heard that Tom could find lines using copper rods, I just sort of laughed and chuckled and said, sure, until he had me do it and taught me how to do it. And then you just have to believe it. We encourage all of our employees to either learn it and not laugh about it, but try to use it.
Tom's job is to find and fix faulty telephone lines. He's sure that this one will present no problems.
Right here. I think we'll dig right here. Looks like Cobra chews this up pretty well.
But several hours later, there's no sign of the cable, despite energetic excavations and the insistent swing of the dowsing rods.
That shows right where it should be.
He tries another spot, but they're still in a real hole.
Kind of embarrassing, you know, to not find it. There you go.
As the shadows lengthen over Carmel Valley, he still can't find the wire. Next morning, Pacific Bell send in high-technology help. It does the job in minutes.
Well, I found what I was digging for.
Yeah,
Is it out there?
it's out here, Tommy.
Well, I must have picked up this water line and this sewer line.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, it's right there.
Well, let's dig it up there. I found it. Yeah, there it is. Boy, that sure was deep.
Yep.
There it is. Now it's on blue.
He's been wrong before, and it won't be this last time, probably, but most of the time, we'll find the wire with the dowsing.
I still believe that dowsing works, and I've been doing it a lot of years, and I'm going to keep it up.
I believe that dowsers, like racing tipsters, remember their successes and conveniently forget their failures. All the same, I think that there may be something to dowsing. Biologists know that some animals can detect water even when there's no visible trace of it. Perhaps a few people share this ability as a primitive survival from a time when it could have been a matter of life and death. So I'd like to see Randy's experiment repeated on a larger scale. It could be important to learn whether dowsing is superstition or genuine science.
We stay with Arthur C. Clarke next on Discovery as he attempts to reveal the truth behind legends of monsters from the deep.